and I am going to record this session so we can send it out later to anyone that might need it. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is AJ. I'm your center director. I'm a graduate of OLC and an employee of the college now, I think for about 9 years. And I've been in this role, I think it's been about 6 years now. So having been a student of OLC, I'm well aware of the challenges and things that students face. Our other staff members are graduates of OLC, and actually Monica, Al, and Tony are current students of the college as well. So they are very aware of the challenges of being a student and dealing with the job and with family as well. So our staff is extremely supportive of our students, and I have an open door policy. So if there is something that is bothering you, or maybe you need a particular resource, always feel free to reach out to me on email. You can message me through Facebook, stop in at the center, and you don't need to make an official appointment unless it's going to go over an hour or so. But just know that we are here to support you. So today we're actually going to go through some of the materials that are available there in front of you if you're here at the center. We have a student handbook and a college catalog. We'll talk about some of the items that the registrar's department handles. They have a PowerPoint presentation that they shared with us some time ago. So I'll be going through some of those slides as well. A little bit later, Tony and Gary are going to go through and talk about the TRIO program. Monica is going to discuss Genzabar and single sign-on. We'll have a short break time, and then Monica will go into FAFSA and any questions you might have about Pell. Then Al will talk about how to access email, time management for students, and discuss a preview of scholarships. There are some upcoming deadlines. The AICF, American Indian College Fund scholarship deadline is coming up. 100% drop as well, which is week 3. So the last day for 100% drop is February 9th, if that's something that you want to track. And Gloria, since you're not here physically at the center, if you do want to pick up a college catalog or a handbook, feel free to come to the center and we can get that to you. To start with, let's look at the PowerPoint from registrars. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so you should see a PowerPoint with the registrar's office. So we have our registrar named Anthony Barajas. He is a former counselor from East Waukesha and a recent graduate as well. And Casina One-Horn is our deputy registrar. Their email address is registrar@olc.edu. They also have other staff members within their office. I didn't list their names and titles because sometimes they have some turnover there, and I didn't want to list incorrect information on that. In case you didn't know, the college is actually accredited through the Higher Learning Commission, and that's something extremely important. So that basically means that any degrees that are earned through our college, they are accredited, they are valid, so to speak. And the HLC Commission, they oversee a lot of different colleges throughout the country. And just as an FYI, they listed their website in case you ever want to know details. You never know when you might have to write a paper about some particular subject, and maybe you might need to access information about the Higher Learning Commission, like who's in charge of the, not who's in charge of the college, but who does the college answer to? you can go to their hlcommission.org website. The responsibilities for registrar, they have a lot of responsibility. Registrar's office not only handles admission applications, but they also input the email addresses for our students. They also oversee the academic warning, probation, and suspension lists for students. They also track FERPA, and we'll cover that in a little bit. For students who sign a disclosure agreement, they track that in our Genzabar system as well. They also handle transcript requests. So if by chance you need to request an official transcript, meaning an official document that lists all your grades that you've taken through OLC, maybe you're applying for a job and they want to see that, or maybe you're applying for higher ed and they want an official transcript, whatever the case may be, you would order that through our registrar's office. And there is a form online to do that. I'm gonna close my door here real quick. So along with transcripts, they also oversee transfer credits. So if you attended a different institution and you want to know if the classes you completed at a different college, if they transfer over into OLC, you would send an official transcript from that college to registrars, and they would work with the department chairs who look at the courses that you took at a different institution to see if those would transfer over to a class here at OLC. If it does, the department chair signs off on that, and then it's reflected on your official transcripts. So that mainly applies to people who are transferring in from a different school. I don't think we have any veterans. I haven't double checked the FTE this semester just yet, but they also deal with the veterans who use their educational benefits. Anthony is the main point of contact at registrars for that. If by chance someone needs to verify your enrollment, their office can do that as well. They also process add drop cards and total withdrawals. The graduation applications, when it comes time for you as students to apply for graduation, Monica definitely helps with that, but ultimately the registrar's department is the one who triple checks to make sure that our students have all of the courses completed and that everything that's on their status sheet is done in order for them to graduate. Registrars also oversees the president's list. There's more details on that further into this PowerPoint presentation. And registrars also oversees the graduation awards that are handed out at our graduation ceremony. Now, the important thing about attending OLC is your student responsibilities. It's always best to be a proactive student. You know, don't be reactive, meaning just wait for someone to contact you for something, or, you know, just sit back and just, you know, not take an active interest in your education. Be proactive. So as far as being a student, what you want to be responsible for is to attend class prepared. Granted, we just completed week 1, so you weren't sure what to expect, but now that we're at the end of week 1, you've probably received your syllabi, your syllabus from each class. Take the time to read through that and look to see what the expectations are. It's always helpful to plan ahead, and Al will get further into that when he covers his time management portion. But for those of you who are physically in the center right now, in the handbook, there is a little calendar. I don't know if you can see that, but I've always found that helpful when I was a student to go through and mark each week, look at my syllabi and assignments and look to see when the projects are due and write them down in here so I know how to plan. It could be that on week 4, I might have 3 big projects that I need to work towards and plan my time effectively for that. So be aware of those type of things as a student. You're going to want to complete your required assignments on time. Communicate with your instructors and especially with us as your center staff, because we are here to support you in your educational efforts. If you have questions about something, reach out to us. If we send you emails and you have questions, respond back to the email. You don't have to reply all, you can just reply individually. Or maybe you're thinking, you're missing something, or you're not quite, you're not feeling comfortable, call us and we will talk you through whatever questions you might have. There might be resources available to you that you're not aware of. So definitely keep that line of communication open. It can get a little frustrating when we're trying to reach a student and we're like, what's going on with them? They're not responding to email, the phone number's not working, they're not going to class, what's happening? And I know Monica's in the room, but Monica could probably share some experiences of what can potentially happen if students don't respond back to us right away. So please, monitor your emails. If you have a cell phone, take the time to download an app so you can get your emails on your cell phone, because sometimes classes are canceled if it's weather or maybe the instructor caught a cold or something. We need to get in touch with you in a timely manner so, you don't get to class at a different location and the class was canceled and you didn't check your email and you didn't know that. So another reason to stay in communication with us. You should always study course material outside the classroom, do your homework. The center is available for your use to do homework. Here we are on a Friday afternoon and we have some free rooms available right now to do homework. So this is your home center. Feel free to come here and utilize the space. If by chance you didn't get a hotspot in time, or maybe your Wi-Fi blipped out on you at home, feel free to come to the center. Give us a call, let us know you're coming. During the semester, we are open 8:30 in the morning to 8 at night, except for Fridays. We close at 5 o'clock. That's just a regular work day. So keep in communication, be proactive. Also monitor your status sheet. And the status sheet is found in the college catalog, which is the status sheet will be listed for every degree program in the catalog. And we also keep track of your status sheets here at the center. If you were here last semester, I believe we reached out to almost everybody with their current status sheet and gave them suggested courses for this semester. And registration is going to open on April 8th for summer and fall semester. So always track your status sheet. That way you'll have a good idea of where you're at on your educational journey. I mean, it's always helpful to know, okay, I'm a third of the way through. I'm half of the way through. You're making progress, hype yourself up. You're completing something that is such a feather in your hat. I mean, not everybody has a college degree and it's hard work, so definitely track where you're at on your goals and keep track of your attendance. I mean, we're all human. Sometimes instructors might accidentally mark you absent, but you were actually there. You want to make sure that your attendance is accurate. And Monica will show you how to do that a little bit later. Go through your student handbook. There's information in here that can be very useful to you. It might not be something that you'll need at this moment, but take the time to read through it. If nothing else, you'll have it handy. If a question comes up, maybe it's 10 o'clock at night and, we're closed for the day, you might be able to find the answers you need in your student handbook. Student conduct, you definitely want to follow our guidelines when you're at a college building or when you're electronically interacting with staff, students, your instructors. OLC does have a zero tolerance for student confrontations resulting in violent acts from one student against another, and there is a policy 86-300. And before I go further, I do want to show you how to find our policies. So if you go to olc.edu and you go down to resources to policy manual. Policy manual lists all of the policies and procedures for OLC. And here you can see which section applies to what. So for students, you'll find information for students under section 80-89. So if ever you want to click around, it's always good to familiarize yourself with websites for the college. And, maybe if you're working for whatever employer down the road or even now, it's always good to familiarize yourself with their websites and their policies, especially. Just because you're not aware of a policy doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to you. As a student of OLC, all of the policies you're expected to follow. I'm just going to casually scroll down through this. You're not expected to memorize these, but I do want you to know where to find those. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. So that's where you can find policies regarding students. There is a process for student complaints and grievances. In the hallway at the center, we do have a form for informal complaints. So you can start the process that way if you wish. You can find more information about grievances in regards to grades under policy 76-200. There's information in the student handbook on page 47. So again, your resources are very important to find the information that you need. Collaborating. So there is a lot of student support within the college that you're probably not aware of. I mean, we are your first face-to-face contacts for anything, which, that's why we're here. But, over at admin at Peowachoni, there are departments of people who are here to support you. Just naming a few of those departments, along with myself as center director, and of course our staff here at the center, your trio, our GED, and your counselor, Monica. We work with the people out at administration, and that could be our coordinator of student services, who right now is Stella Hernandez. We do have an enrollment management office. And also the academic departments. So depending on what your degree plan is, your department chair could be Mary Monroe, who's over the business department. It could be Carolyn Newholy, who's over the Lakota Studies department. So depending on what you're studying, your department chair will be someone different. But the person who oversees all of the department chairs is Carla Witt, who's our VP of instruction. And we also work with a financial aid office who deals with FAFSAs and PAL. So and as center staff, we also work with the registrar's department as well. So there's a lot of different parties of people who work to meet your needs and to see to your success as students. At OLC, if you find that you're in need of finding more information out about disability services, your first point of contact would be Stella Hernandez. They have her number here, 455-6083, and her email address is sthernandez@olc.edu. Again, going back to academic departments, the big college catalog that we have is divided up by academic departments. If you're studying business, it never hurts to read through the business department portion of that catalog, just so you're aware of what's to come, what the degree plan is, and our front door is ringing. It says here that there's no limit on changing your majors, but here's the caveat to that. If you're going to, it's not a good idea to continually change your majors like every semester or so, because you could end up hindering your progress. When you're focused on a particular degree program, each status sheet has core classes that you need to complete before you can start moving into the more upper level courses. And it's always best to focus on one particular degree program so you can make progress in that area. If you jump around to different degree programs, you might think in your head, oh, I took these 10 courses and I'm going to graduate soon. Well, in reality, you might have those 10 courses spread across different degree programs, so you might not be making as much progress as you think. So be very careful if you decide on changing a major. I wouldn't suggest more than 2 or 3 changes, because then you're going to keep going on taking classes, and you want to make sure that you focus on one area so you can make progress towards that graduation goal. And keep in mind that there are limits for Pell eligibility for that. I am not the go-to person on Pell, so if you have any questions on that, I will let Monica speak to that. Moving on to the next slides. Again, for students, you need to follow your status sheet and the required courses for that. You do need to finish your prerequisite. What's a prerequisite? A prerequisite is a class that you need to finish and complete successfully before you can move to an upper level class. So the core classes you see on your status sheet, you want to finish those before you start moving on to your 304 levels, because sometimes you can't get to certain classes unless you finished English 103, or you can't get to college algebra, if that's in your status sheet, unless you finished the 2 math classes before that. So there's reasons why we have those status sheets. It's a roadmap of sorts to finish those classes to get you to graduation. You should be meeting with your counselor. I don't know if weekly is ideal, but you definitely want to meet with your counselor at least once throughout the semester, if not more. When Monica reaches out to you via phone or email, please respond to her, because there is a specific reason why she's reaching out to you. Just as a FYI, when you reach 61 credit hours that are complete, you're at a junior level. And then that's when you're going to start meeting with your department chair for advising. Again, we're still here for you to answer questions, but ideally when you start reaching that junior and senior level, you should be talking with your academic departments for advising, but we are still here to assist as needed. For your student email and Gmail, we moved over to Gmail some time ago. I don't think anyone who's attended OLC since that time frame, you already know that. But the format for email is your first initial of your first name, and then your last name, and then your student ID number. So like my student ID email, or my student email was anobraid22323@olc.edu. So that's the basic format for OLC student emails. If by chance you want to maybe get a study group started, and there's someone in your class that you are looking to maybe connect with for study time or whatever, and you don't have their email, you forgot to ask it of them, let us know. Maybe that's something that we can help you out with. Again, registrars tracks academic warning and suspension. So for each term, you want to make sure that you finish it successfully. If you're a freshman or a sophomore, you do need to have at least a 1.8 or above to stay off of academic warning. If you get something lower than that, you could be placed on academic warning. That means that there's additional steps that need to be followed before you register for the next semester. For probation, that means that you, for a second time, for a second term, you haven't met the required GPA. So we track that, registrars tracks that, and of course you don't want to get suspended. So always try to maintain passing grades. When it comes time for midterms, instructors are expected to post those grades. And if you're not passing at that point, that's when you need to take action. Maybe you might need some tutoring. Definitely contact the center. You can talk with Tony. And she can put you in contact with Gary, our peer mentor, for tutoring if that's something that you need. We also have tutors.com, which is a service that each OLC student can take part in. It's 24/7, so it's a website that you can access 12 o'clock at night if you need to. So we do have resources available to you if you need it. And sometimes we get questions on, I think I saw a form recently filled out by a student and they didn't know if they were a freshman or a sophomore yet. So for your earned credit hours on your transcript, if you've completed 30 credit hours, or I'm sorry, more than 30 credit hours, you would be considered a sophomore. Anything less than that, you're a freshman. If you've earned 61 to 90 credit hours, you're at junior level, and more than 91, you're considered a senior. Okay, so right now, if you're a freshman or a senior, you're considered an undergraduate of OLC. When you reach graduate level, that means you've already got your bachelor's and you're in the master's level program at OLC. So if you're a graduate student, that's what that means. And for students who are non-degree seeking, maybe they're just taking a class, maybe they have an educational background and they're taking a class to recertify for teaching, they would be an unclassified student. They're non-degree seeking. So that's what that means if you ever hear that term. Now for FERPA. FERPA is actually a federal law, and it protects the privacy of student education records. And this applies to students who are in under age 18. So there is a disclosure statement available, and I'm going to show you where to find that right now. This is what it looks like before I go there. If you do not want OLC to share information with anybody, you would want to fill out this disclosure form, which you can find at, go to academics, registrar. Oh my God, where is it? Disclosure. Did they move it? Current students forms. There it is. So you're going to want to go to current students, go to forms, and you'll see financial documents, academic forms, student assistant, admission, and under various. This is where you can find the disclosure form. You just click on that, and that is, oops. That is this form here. There are some situations where it's beneficial for some people to fill out a disclosure form. But if you do that, right now, the way the policy is written, if you do a disclosure form, you have to do it each semester. And if someone contacts us and needs information, then that means you need to tell us in writing that we have permission to provide information out if you've signed up for this disclosure form. So decide what works best for you. Okay. You know what? I don't want to go through that. You guys are already registered. We don't need to talk about that. Transcript requests. For transcript request, if you want to do an official transcript request, you can do that through the registrar's office. The National Student Clearinghouse actually, you know what, it might be easier just to show you. So if you go to current students, I think it was registrars, no, academics, registrar, and this is the registrar section. And here's where you can find other forms as well. If you want to do a change of major form, that's here. Here's the transcript request, and there's other forms here as well. So for the transcript request, it actually takes you to a different looking page, which is here. The important thing to keep in mind is if you request an official transcript from OLC, there is a cost to it, an electronic something to be emailed. That's going to be $8. If you want an official transcript mail, that's going to be $7. So again, you can find that through our website. It does take about 2 to 3 business days for the registrar's office to process that. So if you're up against a timeline, make sure that you request your transcript well in advance before any deadlines that you might have to be aware of. We talked about transfer courses already. I won't go into that. Veterans, Anthony is the school certifying officer for anything veteran related. Attendance, it's very important you monitor your attendance in Zanzibar. Again, we're only human. Sometimes instructors might be rushing and might accidentally mark you absent, even though you were present in that class. Something important to point out is you can be withdrawn from a course if we see that there were 3 consecutive absences from a class. If you have 5 scattered absences, it is within policy that you can be automatically dropped from that course as well. Again, it's important that you maintain contact with your instructor and with your center staff in the time of, I guess we're at the end of the pandemic, but there are still some people who have tested positive for COVID. You know, you might get sick, or maybe your kids get sick and you're missing classes and we're not sure why. It's always important to maintain contact with us. Email your instructors as well. Attendance is very important. If you've missed classes, make sure you reach out to your instructor to find out anything you've missed. Maybe make a friend in one of your classes and ask to see their notes. You know, be proactive in your education. It never hurts to start learning how to network with people, especially at this level. Because once you get out of school, especially in the workplace, community-wise, it's always good to network with people, talk with them, get to know people. You never know what opportunities might present themselves. So don't be afraid to talk with your classmates. I know it can be kind of awkward if you have a class on Zoom, but again, it never hurts to have at least one person who can help answer questions if you missed a class or if you were late or something, or maybe compare notes or create a study buddy. Add drops, total withdrawals, that's something registrars deals with as well. Always take a look at your schedule, especially now. Sometimes we have students who aren't aware that through Zanzibar, they can look at their schedule and look at their attendance. Make sure that the classes that you think you have are actually on your schedule. I don't want to get too much into that because I know Monica's going to speak more to that. Graduation, there's an application that the counselor fills out, but ultimately that is the goal that we're all working towards, is graduation. We want to make sure that we get the classes that you need, that they're completed successfully, so we can get you graduated, whether it's with your certificate or an AA or a bachelor's. Now, the president's list. OLC students are eligible for the president's list if you're enrolled in 6 credit hours or more, if you've earned a 3.25 term GPA or higher, if you dropped, students who've dropped or failed 1 or more courses do not qualify, and you cannot have a grade of incomplete, an F or a W in order to qualify for the president's list. And it's always exciting when we get the list of students who made the president's list. We always have a staff member create a flyer and then we post it to our Facebook. Most centers have a Facebook page, which you can use to find out if we're having a late start or if we are closed for a particular holiday. If we have bad weather days, definitely monitor your emails for any emails from instructors for cancel classes if they're face-to-face, but you can also look at Facebook as well, but always look at your email too. The center is always going to be your first point of contact for any questions, but for some reason, if it's something registrar related, here is their contact information. And each center has an email address. So for your home center of Porcupine, it's pahinsinte@olc.edu. So are there any questions in anything that's come up? Again, I don't expect everyone to remember or put the college catalog or handbook to memorize, but I just want you guys to know where you can find information. If by chance you have a question and we're not, you know, it's late at night and we're not open. I can't really hear anything in the room there, so I'm going to assume there's no questions. But if we don't have questions, or Monica or Al, did you have a comment you want to add before we go to Tony on this next portion for TRIO?
I'm good. I'll just cover whatever, and when it gets up to my time, I'll cover whatever there.
Okay. So Miss Tony, are you ready?
Gary.
I'll leave the moment.
Well, I'm starving, so I'm gonna go make myself a plate in there.
So yeah, I'll see you guys in just a second.
I'll be there in a moment.
Just go do it from here. She's like, where? I don't see it. I love how all three of the other staff all like joined the Zoom from their offices. So my name's Tony Woundedfoot. I met some of you already. I'm the TRIO counselor. I cover here, Wounded Knee, and East Block Bombing. I'm just gonna tell you today about some information about TRIO program and how it can help you in your journey with OLC, your education journey. So TRIO was founded, it's going on its 30th year this year, in 1993. We service all the college centers. Rapid City and Kajutahaka is one of the biggest ones. They have, altogether, all the centers, we total around 200 students that we service. The program is Student Support Services, provides opportunities for academic development, assists students with OLC requirements, supposed to be motivate and help students reach their completion of their academic goals. The program eligibility to be entered into the program is first generation, low income, and freshman students, or if you have a disability. But all students are encouraged to apply if you need help with any tutoring services. The applications, I try to get them to you guys when I see you in person, or if you request a tutoring session or need help in any of your classes. I encourage you guys to sign up for the program and get that going so we can set you up with the tutor. So what does the Student Support Services offer? There's tutoring, and it's either individual or group sessions, Zoom or in person, depending on the tutor's availability and location. Each student can receive up to 3 hours of tutoring per week. We have a math tutor that's based in Rapid. She usually tries to get you guys set up at least 3 times a week. She's the one that we send for all our math stuff. But each of our mentors, tutors, they help in different, I guess, subjects. So like computers, writing, science, Lakota language, they all help with that. Then there's another area of the student support service program is peer mentoring. So each of the center has a peer mentor, or they're supposed to. The peer mentors are designed to help students adapt to college. They have individual or group sessions, Zoom or in person, depending on peer mentors' availability. So your peer mentor for the Pahisi is Gary Puyer. He's right here. So he'll be here if you need his assistance. We moved him out to the front, so he'll be there at your leisure. If you need help, he'll be there, but he's mainly there in the mornings. So don't be afraid to come up to him and ask him if you need help or to email us. TRIO offers workshops such as financial literacy, resume writing, test taking skills, career exploration. We do FAFSA help, and different other ones, but we usually get the emails out to you guys in your student emails. Once you're part of the student service support program, attending any of these workshops, it's a point added to your chart, which I'll explain later. I mean, a few slides down. So the financial aid part is sending scholarship opportunities by email, helping you with your financial aid appeal application, help you with your FAFSA, higher ed and scholarship applications. Some of the other services they can assist you in is application assistance such as employment or housing. That's mainly the ones that were based up in like the bigger cities, and they have actual like permit opportunities for students and stuff like that. Career and personal counseling and assist with establishing a community connection and referral. So we encourage you to be involved in your student support services such as like orientation, if they have community feeds, or if we have any kind of workshops going on, or just anything involved with the community center. Next we have is grant aid scholarships. They're awarded to the student support services students only. The applications are paper and online. The student just needs to submit a personal essay. It doesn't have to be too long. The scholarship selection is based off the participation in the SSS services and is a merit and need based. So basically, if you're just enrolled in the program, which means you're qualified basically, which means you meet your needs. Disbursement is usually this spring, so I try to get the students to apply like now, basically, if you're enrolled in the program. If you are selected as a recipient, you will be notified via email. The counselor will send you a certificate along with the scholarship amount and disbursement date. So if you still want to enroll in the SSS program, you can reach out to me, phone, email, or in person. Stop by the center and pick up the application. Right now I have a fillable form that I can email you, and then you can just send it back. So we send that back, and then, like I said, the needs base is basically if you're eligible for PAL or if your parents don't have a bachelor's degree, either of your parents. So TRIO also offers job opportunities such as a peer mentor or a tutor. They're open to juniors and seniors in good standing, enrolled in 3 or more classes. You have excellent time management. The working hours can be up to 20 hours, but the tutor is a little different. It's based off of the hours that you actually tutor. And then the tutoring, you can do it over Zoom or in person, whichever works for you. You have an understanding of the student handbook, provides tutoring when needed. That's the peer mentor part. They would provide tutoring if needed. If you'd like an application, you can also see me for that. I believe on the TRIO website too, on the OLC website, if you just type in TRIO in the search bar, we have those SSS applications and the peer mentor applications, along with the tutor application. The difference between a peer mentor and a tutor is the peer mentor is based at the center for their hours, and the tutor basically gets to work from home, basically. Tutor from home, or either they can come to the center and do their tutoring at the center. This is my contact information. I generally like to email all of the students, so you'll probably be getting the welcome email from me. You can reach out to me, and if you need help with any of your tutoring or computer help or navigating anything like that, just let me know. You can just call the center or email me. And then meet the peer mentors. Right now we have 2 peer mentors. Like I said, we have Gary here. He is the Pahisinte peer mentor, and his email's right there. And then we have Kylie. She's in the Unity College Center. They both kind of have their own styles of what they tutor in. Gary's preferred, well, I'll let him talk about it. Kylie's is basically the entry level courses. So most of the tutors are preferred to do the entry courses, but I can introduce Gary to you guys. Let him introduce himself to you guys.
Can I sit down? Name's Gary Puyer. I'm Pahisinte's peer mentor tutor. I kind of wanting to focus more on the basic core requirements to try to help you get over that hump and to advance into your college courses. So I'm kind of like the entry level also. And I've been here for 3 semesters. This will be my last semester. And that's about it. And we don't also just tutor. I mean, I feel like have any questions about any classes, we can kind of try and get you motivated and get you a little bit more understanding. That's what I have for you guys.
Do any of you have any questions for me or Gary or?
When you talk about disability for the program, what disability are you talking about? Like,
It needs, it's basically probably like around like a learning disability or something that's documented that you have a disability. That's one of the requirements. It's just like the OLC Disability Act. Documented disability.
oh, okay.
We try to make the accommodations to the disability of the students.
So that's the only thing, just a learning disability, not like a physical disability?
It could be a physical. Yeah. Just gotta let us know. But yeah, if you have any other questions, you can call or email or stop by. Visit one of us. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye. Right on. Oh, that's. Here.
Okay, I just need, to be able to access my, thank you. My agenda first.
Yeah.
You guys hot in here?
Yeah. Snooze. Is it shared? How much shared? On the Zoom screen? Okay, got it.
you up.
Okay, so, we're just working through a couple of technical things going on here. So I see some new faces. I'm not even sure who we have on the, I think it's just still that one. Anyway, my name is Monica Spider. I'm the academic counselor for Pan Vicente College Center. I have been with OLC officially for going on my 11th year. I have worked as the trio counselor, as the GED tutor, and now I'm the academic counselor here. I think for the entire time I've worked at this college center, I've worked with students directly, just in different capacities. So, thank you. All right. So the first thing I think that we're going to talk about is basically Genzabar. So Genzabar is an application program that OLC uses. Every student has their own individual account to Genzabar. You have your own logins, or codes as we call them, your username and password. The reason Genzabar is so important is because each of your accounts is specified to you specifically. It has only your information, your financial aid information. It's where you can register. It's where you track attendance. It's where you can view your unofficial transcripts. There's just so much different information. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to log into this using my own individual codes and kind of give you a quick tour. You remember, oops. Okay. Yay, I remembered it. Okay. Autofill is horrible. You forget all your passwords. Okay, so this is my Genzabar. It might look a little bit different. I do have some extra tabs over here, but otherwise I can still view my information as an OLC student. So the first thing you'll notice when you log into Genzabar, you can, move this mouse. Over here on the left side, you have a lot of hyperlinks. Any one of these hyperlinks will take you to that specific place. It offers a lot of information. For those of you who are Pell eligible, including our new students, the Native American scholarships is where you can go to apply for the in-house scholarships. That deadline is coming up in 2 weeks from today, so you're going to want to do that. Once the deadline hits, it's closed for the semester. So be sure to get in there. As you can see up here, you've got a lot of information, your academics tab, all of these, you click on them, you'll be able to travel to that specific page. But right now, the first thing I want to show you is right here. Over here under quick links, you'll see my courses. Now on your Genzabar, when you click on this, it will show each one of your classes. All right, the reason this is important is when you click on that, it takes you to that classes page on Genzabar. Now this is going to give you a lot of information. Let me change the view. It's not really different as faculty, just, yeah. Okay, so over here you have a lot of information. You can see the roster, which includes the other people who are in the class along with you. But down here towards the bottom, when you click on attendance, this is where you come to monitor your attendance. Now attendance, as AJ mentioned, is very important for you as a college student. It is your responsibility to monitor your attendance. Do it weekly, okay? The reason being, as AJ talked about in her section, remember, 3 absences in a row or 5 scattered will get you withdrawn. If it's after 100% drop, you will be charged for the class even though you've been dropped from it. Okay, so one of the main reasons why students are withdrawn from their classes at OLC is because of attendance. So it's very important that you monitor your attendance weekly. Now, when you go to that My Courses, you click on your class, it brings you, you click on attendance, here you're here. Now, of course, my instructor has not entered attendance in yet. I was hoping he would so you could see, but this is basically what it's gonna look like. All right, the days, it'll show each individual class date, and that goes off across there. You'll see one of the 4 colored icons marking your status for that day. Now, there's a couple of reasons why this is important. One, you need to track how many absences you've had through the semester. You would not believe how easy it is to hit week 10 and forget how many times you've been absent. Okay, so you might have been absent 2 times, you don't remember, you think, oh, you get sick for the next 3 classes, bang, you're dropped, right? Keep track of how many times you've been absent in the semester. The other reason you check your attendance is because, like AJ mentioned, instructors, these faculty, they're human. When they enter attendance in, they click on a drop-down box and it has every student in the class there. Trust me, I've entered attendance in for students. It is not hard to click on the wrong student by accident, okay? Last semester, I had 2 students who I almost dropped because they had 3 absences in a row, and they were there for 2 of those classes. It was the faculty instructor who mistakenly entered the wrong attendance. And so when I contacted them, they were like, oh my God, I was in class. Well, you need to contact your instructor right away and monitor your attendance. She's like, I've never checked my attendance. Well, I'm pretty sure she does now. So monitor that, okay? Each week on a Friday, set up a schedule, make it a habit. You log in, you check your attendance for all of your classes. You do have to click on each course individually to get to this page, okay? Any questions about attendance? No? Okay. If you can't remember your schedule, click on your Advisee tab. It'll bring up your schedule. It'll show over here all the classes. You can see the class I'm registered for right there. That's where your classes will be listed. Also, on this Advisee tab down here, if you have a hold on you, this is where it will be in this section right here under Add Drop. If it's academic warning, transcript warning, you know, social security card. Some students, when we used to require it, they didn't have it, so there would be a hold placed on them right there. This is a really good way to just keep track of your standing, your academic standing within the college each semester, okay? Okay. Look through this, and of course, under your finances tab, this is where you can submit your direct deposit form. Now, they've been working on this pretty consistently for the past couple of weeks. There have been some bugs through the GenSpar admin. OLC IT gurus have been working on this. I'm hoping that this is done now. Another thing, right, oh yeah. If you need the 1098T, if you were here last semester, for you new freshmen, this doesn't apply to you, but for those of you, and I'm also saying this for anybody who might watch the recording later, who's not attending right now, if you need to provide this document to your tax preparer, this is where you can provide permissions for the statements to be generated, where you can access them and print them out. Okay. Also up here, your account balances, course and fee statement. Both of those, when generated, will show you, for instance, at the end of the semester, your course and fee statement will show all of the charges that you had been charged with by OLC and all of your financial awards. It'll show if you have a bill. Awesome. Okay. This let me see. The academics tab, when you log into GenSpar, over here is your Add Drop course schedule portal. This is where you come to register at the beginning, you know, towards when you're getting ready to register for the following semester. Basically, when you click your Add Drop courses, brings it up. In a second, there. Now, you're not gonna be looking for graduate courses. I don't know, maybe some of you will, who might watch the recording later. I'm switching it. Once you do this, this is where knowing your status sheet or having it with you is so important. Now, the classes that are listed, they're sorted by what's called course code. Okay, basically what that is, every class has its own course code. And that is this right here. Every class has its own individual course code. Now that's how classes are listed on the GenSPAR schedule. And they're sorted alphabetically. Of course, starting with A's, here are the other letters. You can click on any of these and it brings up the classes in that letter classification, okay? So having your status sheet with you, the course code for every one of your classes is on that status sheet. So it helps you look for the classes that you need. Of course, we're available to assist with registration, but as you go through this progress, as you progress through these semesters, you will be able to register on your own. Or we might only be needing to help you with course selection, but you'll know how to register. Okay, any questions? I'm kind of pushing it through kind of quick here. Any questions about GenSPAR?
I have a question on it's been a while since I've been here. So what were you talking about with the bank?
The direct deposit?
Yeah,
Okay, so every student is being strongly encouraged to set up direct deposit for any monetary awards that they receive so that they go directly into that student's account.
oh, okay.
It could be a checking account, savings account, it could be an off reservation bank, it could be Lakota Fund, it could be a reloadable card. You know, like you do, I think some, what are they called, Chime,
Yeah.
or some of those reloadable cards, it could be that. So, and I've even seen somebody put them onto two cards. Not that good, but you know, half in here, half in there. So it's otherwise, if a student receives an award, it's in a check form and it's mailed to them at the address on file. We do not go out to PO20 and collect checks anymore for students to pick up here like we used to.
Okay.
It's we kind of moved past that, I guess you could say.
And that's online to put your information in?
Yep, right on your GenSPAR. It's under your finances tab.
Okay.
And you can do it right there. Now, like I mentioned, when I pulled it up, there has been maintenance going on pretty regularly on this. There've been some bugs, they're working out. It should be up and running, but if you try and it doesn't work, just give it time and monitor your OLC email.
Okay.
Because they provide the updates on there.
Okay.
Now, if you lose your password, keep in mind your username will always be your student ID, always. There's no letters included, it's just student ID. Once you do that, if you lose your password, okay, then you'll put in your student ID, you'll come over here, you click, I forgot my password. It'll give you the option, the area where you can put in your OLC email. It emails you a link, you click it, you reset your password. It's just that simple. Okay. Any other questions about GenSPAR? No? Okay. Good to plug this in. Wait, nope, not there. Not there. Over here. Don't mind me. I talk to myself a lot. Now, I'm basically blowing through a lot of information really fast. I know next on the agenda is talking about single sign-on. Make sure. Okay. I see that I got to do. That's that. I'm gonna take my share because it's not showing. Just not sure. Oh, yeah, yeah, there you go. Yep. It'll just be that. Cool, there it is. You got it. How's our IT guru here at Porcupine? I mean, for real, he has proven his skill on these things over and over again. All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to kind of skip through a little bit. We'll come back to that other stuff in a minute. What? Maybe this is the problem. Or did I? Oh, all right. Sorry, guys. I am. Oh, man.
They can't.
Nope, that is the right one. Bless you. Okay, so I had a PowerPoint where I included yes, so I'm gonna share that real quick. Okay, so here, hopefully this changes. Yep, it did. Okay, so single sign-on, we're gonna go over this really quick. What is single sign-on? Single sign-on is a phrase that I throw at you guys all the time. I mean, speaking it, putting it in emails, talking about how important it is. I know for you new guys that are here, I've mentioned it several times. So what is single sign-on? There are 4 apps that you will use during the course of your time as an OLC student. Each one of those apps require logins. They require username and passwords. That's 4 separate logins that you have to keep track of. We've had many students over the course of the years who, you know, they lose this password, they lose that when it was on my phone got broke, it fell in the toilet. I mean, you know, boyfriend took off with it. I've heard all kinds of things that happen to students' phones. And then they don't have the login information, and some of them can be really hard to recover. Okay, so what can we do to help you guys with that? We created the single sign-on. Now from the OLC homepage, up here where it says My OLC, when you click on that, hopefully for some of you, this looks familiar. All right, over here in this brown box, that's your login portal. You'll create your account. If you don't have one yet, it's down here, first time user. You go through the process to create your login. If you have your login, then you enter it in. So I'm gonna help out. I think I might have to answer. Okay, you guys don't look. I didn't even think of that. This is being recorded. AJ, could you stop recording for a second?
Are you serious? I could. I'll pause it.
My bad.
There you go.
Got it.
What is your childhood nickname?
Don't you guys wish you do? Yeah, no, I'm just- Okay, so once you log in, this is the screen you're gonna come across. Like I said, 4 apps, guys. The G Suite, when you click on that, that takes you to the Gmail login where you enter in your OLC email login information. Genzabar is the app we just came from, okay? Moodle is like a big electronic file folder. It's the area where your instructors, they can use Moodle, they can put handouts, they can put videos, YouTube videos, And they can separate the semester into weeks and list the work that's due for each week in there, reading assignments, homework assignments. It's also where you can go, it's like also like an electronic syllabus where all that information is included on the screen. It's also where you can upload work if they're using it that semester. And finally, Academos. Academos is where you go, it's our online bookstore. It's the link between OLC and the book distributors. It's where you order your books. For the most part, some Lakota studies books, art supplies like that still get ordered out at our Brave Hearts bookstore, but 95% of the materials is ordered on Academos. Now, as you see, if I click on any one of these, it takes me right into that app without having to log in again. In this way, you're only needing to track one login instead of 4, okay? And also with Academos, you can only log into Academos through that single sign-on portal. The rest of them, you can go directly and log in, except for Academos, so just keep that in mind. Any questions about single sign-on? All right, so for you, for anybody online, and for anybody who might watch the recording later, I do have a step-by-step user guide for Academos, how to order your books, and a step-by-step user guide for single sign-on. So if anybody needs that, I can need it emailed to PDF version, no problem. Okay, all right, so now, let's stop share. Oh yeah, log on. Otherwise, Al will be ordering books on my Academos. Okay, I'm just kidding. He wouldn't do that. All right. Still got 10 minutes, and then it'll be break time for you guys. You guys are looking forward to that. It's kind of warm. Is anybody else warm in here?
It was warm.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's just you.
The heat's on, should I turn it off?
Yeah. I don't know. I hate to mess with that because it's so, yeah. Okay, so I also just quickly, I say quickly, look at all these PowerPoint slides. Trust me, I can sit through. Just to touch on a couple of things for financial aid. Financial aid over the past 2 years, regardless of whether you're eligible or not, has been very important. I encourage all of my students, whether you are eligible for Pell or not, get your FAFSA submitted every year, okay? Remember that for the FAFSA application, you only need to submit an application once an academic year or once a school year. School year is different from calendar year. School year is basically from September to May, okay? So just keep in mind, once a year, if you do it in September of 2024, that covers that fall semester and the following spring semester. Do your FAFSA, okay? Always get your FAFSA submitted. So, okay, here we go. So the financial aid department out at OLC, Pewachuny, is comprised of, and actually I think this one's a little bit old because, oh no, sorry. The file clerk for both registrars and financial aid. Yolanda Garcia is the director. She is, I guess, still relatively new. She's been with us a couple of years now, I think. Very efficient. These are the people who work in financial aid. Now, when you have a question about billing, especially if you are a student who is ineligible for Pell, you might say, and I get calls like this from students all the time. Well, I know I don't get Pell, so does that mean I can't take classes? Call and talk with me first before you decide to just laugh off registration. You can also contact billing. Dawn Moves Camp, Angela Little Elk, they're the ones who are in charge of talking with you about your bill, any disbursements. They can also tell you if your direct deposit is current. Andrew, wake up. Sorry, I saw your eyes closed. Maybe you got a headache. I just had to throw that up. Sorry. He's like, that's it, I'm out of here. Okay. All right, so when you need to do your financial aid, make sure that you know the correct year. At any given time on the FAFSA website, there are 2 academic years that are offered for you to do your application. This current year is 23-24, fall 23, spring 24. But 24-25 is also open. That covers fall 25 or 24, spring 25 next year. Okay, so make sure you have your information. If you filed taxes 2 years prior to the year you're filing for, this is where it can get kind of complicated. Okay, this is that. Yep. All right, so right now, and I know the people who are watching the recording might not be able to see this. Let me make it big. This is the current year FAFSA, 23-24. Can anybody tell me what year's income you have to report?
Last year's 2022 and half of 23, right?
Anybody else?
21.
2021. It's called prior. And it's actually this whole setup was set up by the Department of Education with the help of the IRS. The reason prior means they need income from 2 years prior to the FAFSA year you're applying for. So as you can see, 23, 21, 2 years. For 24, 25, it'll be 2022. That is where it will trip up a lot of students. And basically, because there are people who file late. So if you just do the year before, when the parents like, oh yeah, I'll get to it, yeah, I'm late, it's okay, I'll pay the penalty. When their children come in to do their FAFSA, they don't have their parents' income because they haven't filed. So that's why there were enough people that this happened to, that they changed it to prior, okay? So make sure you have that information, your financial information, your parents' financial information. Okay, AICF, TCU, in-house scholarships. Please disregard the date on there. I believe it is actually February 9th, which is 2 weeks from today, is the deadline for in-house scholarships. You do need to be eligible for financial aid to be able to receive any in-house scholarships. If you're unsure, if you are, get hold of me. Or if you're, I don't know, not a Porcupine student watching this later, contact your home center counselor. They can give you that information. It's a tedious process. As those of you, Gary can attest, Kate can attest, 2 of our veteran students here, who have completed the in-house scholarship app many times, it's a pain in the butt. It really is. There's like 3 essay sections and it's multiple pages, but it's free money. It's free money. And the only thing that will keep you from receiving that if you're eligible is not submitting an app. This is some example of some outside scholarships. Your Cobell, the Gates Millennium. Now Gates is usually, their focus is high school students. But they're, it doesn't mean that they might not have stuff available for existing college students. The Dakota Indian Foundation, like I said, the Cobell Coca-Cola Scholarship, they have an amazing scholarship. So there are a lot of them that you can go, the link to look at outside scholarships is on the website under the financial aid tab. So check it out. They are very competitive. They do have their own established deadlines outside of ours. So it's always good to look sooner rather than later. What's this? Okay, so for the past 2 years, students have been receiving the CARES funding. It's been very lucrative, okay? This is the last semester for CARES funding. After the spring, the college will not be dispersing the CARES incentive anymore to students, okay? Now, for those students who are on financial aid suspension, now is when you need to start thinking about anything possibly outside funding. If you're a pure pupil student, meaning if you're enrolled with a federally recognized tribe, you can accrue a bill. However, it's always good to look for that outside funding, you know, just to see if there's anything available. You can check within the tribe. I've seen some students who are on suspension, even though you don't have to worry about tuition, they would go to like voc rehab or different places, tribal programs. It's always good to ask. Which, I mean, the worst they can say is, sorry, we can't help you know. For students applying to higher ed, you will need to do the needs analysis form. It is an online form now. It's not paper. Most of our forms have moved to electronics format. All right, keep in mind that financial aid standing and academic standing are two different things. You can be on academic warning and still be in good financial aid standing, okay? The requirements for financial aid standing are twofold. One, you need to have at least a 1.5 GPA if you're a freshman, or a 2.0 cumulative GPA if you're sophomore, junior, or senior, and you have to be making satisfactory academic progress above a certain percentage. Now, warning is what happens that first semester, one of those two falls below the requirement. Suspension is what happens if you fail to bring it back up. Okay. I got 2 minutes. Okay. If a student is Pell eligible and they totally withdraw, they will automatically be ineligible for Pell the following semester. Just for that semester, but those all W's, they will work against you on financial aid. The FAFSA website, you can also go to studentaid.gov, which I think is the more current one. Like I said, the information now, if you are a dependent student, you will need to report a parent's income. You will be considered dependent if you are under the age of 24, you have no children, you are not married, you are not enlisted with the military. If you have children, you're married, you're in the military, you are considered independent, even if you're under the age of 24, you only report yours. But otherwise, you have to report a parent's income. Right here, like I said. And your FAFSA is kind of like taxes. You know, if you're filing for your FAFSA and you have children to put on there, it's almost like you've got a claim and you get awarded more. It's anyway, yeah. If a student is verified, all it means is that the Department of Education is asking for more documentation to be submitted. This is done on the student's part through their email. They receive an email notification, and financial aid is available to assist them. This is basically what the dashboard of ProVerify looks like. And for instance, the screenshot is of a student who had to submit a dependent verification worksheet. So it not only tells you what you need, it tells you the status, and it gives you the upload button. Max Pell. Students can max out on their Pell. Each degree has a specific number of credit hours that they need to achieve to graduate. AAs are 60. Bachelors are around 120. Now you get 180% of those credit hours to complete those degrees. For example, if you're pursuing a 60-hour degree, an AA, okay, you get 90 credit hours from Pell. They'll pay you up to 90 credit hours to get that 60 credit hour degree. The same with a bachelor's, you get 180 paid hours to complete that 120-hour degree. But if you approach those limits, the 90 or 120, and it is very apparent you're not going to graduate before you hit that point, you will be what's called max Pell, meaning you cannot receive Pell for that specific degree. You've exceeded that 150% max timeline. LEU, there's a certain point you come to where you are not eligible for Pell anymore at all. Not here, not at any other college, tribal or otherwise. And basically, you get 600%, which is like 6 years of full-time, fall and spring to complete your degree, which is, which is enough to complete up through bachelor's. When you come to the point when the Department of Ed determines you will not complete your degree with whatever's left, they will max LEU. Sorry. They will apply the max LEU standing to you, and you will not be able to get Pell anymore. It doesn't mean as long as you remain eligible, you'll still get in-house scholarships, just not Pell. What? Look at that. We blazed through that. Holy. I know. A lot of information. And it was condensed and I blazed through it. So myself and the other staff are always available for questions. We're a phone call or an email or a stop in the parking lot away. If you have any questions. Anybody have any now? Andrew, you doing okay? You need some coffee? Yes, actually, AJ, is it time for a break?
Yes, we can take a 15-minute break.
Come on, guys. You guys probably need it after my spiel here.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pause the recording.
Okay.
We got a outline format to what we call the Cornell note-taking system, which I really like. So that's just me personally. And then there's another one, is like a kind of like a bubble outline. Alrighty, so we're going to get started. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Alvin Dedet. I'm the GED tutor here, but I also help out on the ladies up front. Prior to the GED program, I was also the TRIO student support service for the Pioneer and College Center. So I also help out Tony. So today we're going to go over time management. How many of you guys know what time management and what it stands for?
Managing your time.
Managing time.
To give you time to take for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Making sure that you have time set aside for yourself, as well as schooling, work-related stuff, and even other things you have going on and stuff. So time management is more like setting goals and achieving them in a certain time frame. Creating to-do lists, like even if it's daily, weekly, monthly, being able to set those goals, whether if it's like at home work, school work, like scheduling time schedules, classes, study time, creating tasks for like future events, like you birthdays, family get-togethers, creating Zooms, and other stuff, like focus, or even doing your daily tasks like laundry, could be maybe cooking for your family, dinners, meal prepping, stuff that'll help you prepare for like the day, the week, and stuff like that. So when you're doing your like creating daily logs or stuff, usually how many of you guys use like journals or anything? Little post-its, because I use post-its. Just to remind me a few things. You can also even use if you're like really tech savvy, Excel spreadsheets, Google Calendar is also another to-go thing for me. Stuff like that. And then another good thing too is remember on your phones, you got those geo tags. You can also use that to take pictures and say, okay, so I got notes for this day, but when is it? Or when did I take them? Or like keeping, just making like a log for it. And the other one is being self-motivated, self-disciplined, and having those is also very beneficial so that you'll be able to, won't feel that stress. You know what I mean? So that's what pretty much like little brief things. So making a plan, even if it's morning of, the night before, to-do list is always very important and manageable. And also when you're making your to-do lists, make sure you list the important stuff first. Like maybe setting a time for 8 o'clock would be my studying for chemistry. Or what if it's my assignment for math that day at 1? So maybe you can give yourself, maybe start planning 10 o'clock would be your study time for math. Or if it's your English, getting your topics ready, whether it's research or maybe you need to talk to a community member about getting notes for your specific topic. So making sure that you can get those important items first, and that way you can complete it as you go along. Always make sure to be specific with your topics or goals. And making each goal an objective understanding, so making sure that they're detailed. So that way you'll know what to expect for that specific time frame. So when you're completing them, that way you'll be able to continue moving on from there. And then also setting a plan before studying can help you in the long run, even if it's more than just one goal complete for you. So that's like where I just start being specific, so that way you'll know what to expect for that day. I like this picture. That's why I put it on. That's what Sunir's like, having a, I like to schedule a time management seminar on the calendar as soon as I buy a calendar. So you see how that coincides. So that's where you're being setting goals. So now that's where I thought this, writing down your goals, especially like using a bubbles and stuff like that. So that way you can figure out, okay, so I have this topic, you know, what am I gonna look for that particular topic? And that's where you can start writing down each one, making sure it's clear it is, concise, depending on how challenging it could be, the commitment, and the types of feedback can be whether if it's peers, community members, or even us here, and the complexity of the task itself. And that's where you're gonna start asking yourself, okay, so where can I start? What do I want to accomplish? When do I want to accomplish it? And then that's where setting the SMART goals comes along. Now, when we say SMART, that's when we talk about, okay, so how specific is it gonna be? The measurable can be able to get like the creating a track progress, pretty much. Like maybe when writing a paper, using 3 steps can be like the introduction, the body of your paper, the conclusion, or what if it's your map? Looking into your assignments, the types of notes that you have for the class, looking back in your text. That's where you're gonna be able to set like a time frame. And working on your goals. That's where we focus on attainability. Making sure your goals are attainable. What types of resources are you gonna be using, whether you're using your goals or your tasks? And what types of resources are you gonna be using? Is it gonna be online? Is it gonna be community? Post for a picture. And then, or what if it's a library? Stuff like that. So that's where you start going on to how realistic is the goal itself. That's where the time management can be like a tool to assist you in obtaining your goals, whether if it's a specific time, maybe your goal needs to be completed by today, tomorrow, maybe if it's next week, like you have assignments, like right now, maybe your guys' first assignment is due Monday. So what do I need to start doing after today? Tomorrow, tonight, start studying, creating that time frame, and being realistic towards that. And then the time bound meaning like the end of each goal that are completed, that's where you feel like, okay, all right, I feel that accomplishment, like the satisfaction of being, okay, cool, I finished my chapter. So you can be able to have that whole time frame of maybe watching your favorite TV series, it could be, is there, like mine's be like The Simpsons or Grey's Anatomy. So stuff like that. And that's where you need to start figuring out, okay, so what distractions do I have? Being able to find like a quiet place, what best fits for you can be like a room, or maybe area that you feel comfortable with, or you can also come up here to the center. So by doing that, it's always best to let your family know or friends know that, okay, hey, I got a goal that I can complete like this time frame. So maybe we can hang out like maybe afterwards when I'm done or stuff like that. So being able to communicate with them so that we're able to say, okay, so I got this. The next one is finding a coping mechanism. So like it could be maybe music. What if music is your coping mechanism? Being able to use music to help you study. For some, that can also be a distraction, but for others, it actually helps them study. I also found a pretty neat one. It's I don't know if it's really studied on, but like chewing the gum when you're studying actually helps out like memorization. So that's also like to help out with your studying and stuff like that. And then also try and limit social media, which I know a lot of us is kind of hard. I mean, I admit, Facebook, TikTok, TikTok of course. But being able to realize, okay, so I've got like my distraction right now. Being able to try to avoid, maybe even logging off or silencing your phone, just texting saying, okay, I got this first. Or maybe like some of us, maybe we're used to like when we're studying, but we have the TV going. Maybe that's also our coping mechanism, but for others, it can also be a distraction. But find what best fits you when it comes to your study. And that's where I like to spend your time. Being able to figure out, okay, so what do I need to do first? And then that's where you like figure out, okay, so I got this, this, and this. And then making sure like the clarity and like monitoring, being specific, stuff like that. So I kind of like that picture. It kind of feels like, okay. So that's where the next part is being able to be resourceful. So when you're studying, and once you get your your vibe going when it comes to studying. Okay, so what am I working on? Maybe if it's your paper, you've got maybe looking for online resources. Surprisingly, I actually like even TikTok is actually a good resource because they have like some of them gives out like good information on like
There's a lot of plant stuff on it.
yeah, like plants, people that work in like biology, sorry, anything the Manta. When it comes to TikTok, besides all the funny memes and everything.
Food, a lot of people with recipes and they're cooking, shopping, home improvement,
DIYs.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
hair. I've seen a bunch of people put up like how to fix your hair and makeup tutorial. Holy, it's good as YouTube. You can learn how to do anything on TikTok.
Yeah, so like online resources, TikTok, like Monica just said, YouTube. Surprisingly, even if you have Instagram, they have those Instagram reels, comes up with stuff. They also give out how-tos on your writing topics, stuff like that. Another one is Google Scholars. So if you're maybe looking up, if you need to look up for an article, Google Scholars is a new one, good one about that. And then also, how many of you guys watch TED Talks? You guys heard of TED Talks? Not really. TED Talks is kind of like a
Oh, TED Talk.
I thought you said tech talk.
I know, me too.
oh,
Literally, I was like, whoa, is this new?
TED
TED
Talks.
TED Talks. No,
That's also like where they have individuals talk about specific topics, whether if it's medical related, writings to maybe if you're into like biology, botany, kind of all kinds of stuff they talk about on TED Talks. So that's also another good resource. The other one is actually on the OLC website. How many of you guys are able to access the OLC library? Or have you guys looked at the OLC library and your database? I do believe, AJ, correct me or not, are we having one this semester? Or Tony? Well, just keep an eye on your email because I know we will be having we're planning on doing a Zoom session with the OLC library, and they will actually go over the OLC database. And maybe if you need to look up for a book, that's also another good source. Next one is engaging during study time. So what we mean by engage, study time so like when you're thinking about engaging, you're gonna think about, okay, so I need to set each class period should at least be 2 to 3 hours based on study. And when you're doing your studying and stuff, and especially in your textbook, and this was what brought up to my attention one time. Well, I had this class, it was an intro to business, and we had an instructor, his name was Dana Jones. And he was a pretty cool instructor. I liked him. He made the whole class laugh during the whole year. But, he gave a lot of good advice. And he said, when you're doing your studying, especially when it comes to textbooks, he said while you're reading, look at specific writing, whether it's italic, bold, or underline. Because he said those are actually key points on the book itself, trying to tell you, okay, hey, this is what you need to memorize. So keep that in mind. Look for bold, italic, and underlined words in your textbook. And then that's where the other one where it says take notes. So Gloria, what I'll do is I'll send a copy of the sample note takings that I made copies of. I'll give it to DJ Monica.
Anna's here to test. I didn't know how far through you were.
I got like a few more slides,
Have
but
Want her to hang out?
so yeah, so just keep in mind, like how Monica was saying, find a study buddy and take notes on AJ and bro. Talking about that earlier too. But also keep in mind, you can also use the center for studying too. Like our hours, Monday through Thursday is gonna be 8:30 to 8. And then on Fridays will be 9 to 5. So that's just a little heads up for you guys. And I always like that picture. I have to put that on. And then the next part is while you're studying, always remember to take a break. All right. Even if it's for like 5 minutes. When it comes to studying, if you want to do like a full hour, at least put in like a 10-minute study in between. So like maybe study from the first half hour, take 10 minutes, and then study the next 20 minutes. Kind of break it down so that way you're not overstressing yourself, saying, oh my God, it's like, I need to get this done. But always just remember to take breaks all the time. Don't rush, especially when it comes to when you're writing, essay writing, because you get those, like, I get writer's block every now and then. That's because I'm sitting here really focusing on, like, okay, I need to get this done. Always remember to just take your time, even when it comes to like studying for your math. Healthy lifestyles, whether if it's like eating well, having a healthy diet, staying active, are the most key factors when it comes to your lifestyles. And always remember that like pretty much focusing on one topic at a time. And just remember like everything shouldn't be too perfect. You know what I mean? Always remember to focus. Then multitasking, which I constantly do. But always try to remember to okay, so I just remember that focus on one topic at a time. And, if you're used to multitasking, I mean, kudos, because that's a big thing to do. but just always remember to take breaks. Take your time on each topic, assignments, stuff like that. And that's where even being organized is also another key thing, which is why I like this one. Keeping calm and staying organized. And then that's where, okay, so keeping calm, organized, and then maybe I need to work with more people. All right. And that's where this next one comes along, where having a team, maybe have in your class, maybe like they were talking about earlier, creating study groups, communicating is key to pretty much everything, whether if it's school related, work related, home, communicating between everyone is the key points. Then always, yeah, just remember you're not alone when it comes to studying. Always remember that, all right? So like how Oprah Winfrey was talking about, passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. And the reason why I picked that topic, her specific quote is because it's like you're going in for your education. It's trying to be like if you're going into automotive, what is the passion for that? So always remember it's like, okay, so I want to go into automotive or teaching or Dakota studies or business. Always focusing on what is it that excited you to go for that? Why is it that you want it? Always remember to just have that, keep that passion. So that's pretty much the little gist of what I have for time management. Any questions? Anything? No? But yeah, so like earlier, I gave you guys some examples of note taking, the online format, the Cornell note taking system, or the last one which was yeah, or the mind map. Yeah. Questions? You wanna take over a little bit more on the scholarships and stuff?
Yeah. Okay. Do you have something that you go over?
Just pretty much, I think you went over on the scholarship.
Okay. So for the scholarships, like I was telling you before, every scholarship has eligibility criteria that you have to meet as a student, whether it's offered through OLC or whether it's offered outside of OLC, whether it's a tribal college scholarship or whether it's just like a mainstream scholarship, okay? It's very important to understand what that criteria is and what the deadlines are. Many of the outside scholarships, their deadlines are usually in the spring for fall awarding. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. It's always done usually a semester or up to a year in advance. Okay, for instance, so our full circle scholarships are basically outside scholarships that are offered through AICF. They're tribal scholarships, but they're not in-house, like within OLC. So that deadline, those opened up on January 1st on the TCU website, and the deadline for those is May 31st. Now, if you're awarded those, they do not disperse until next year, until the fall semester, fall and spring. Usually those scholarships are year-long scholarships, meaning it could be a $5,000 scholarship that's awarded $2,500 fall, $2,500 spring. Okay. Now the one drawback to those kind of scholarships is that the eligibility criteria needs to be met for both semesters. So if it has a full-time status requirement, you have to be full-time in the spring again to receive it at fall. And I think that's where some students will run into some issues outside of, unexpected withdrawals or whatever. So just always remember to read the fine print. Let me see. Here. All right, so when you even just go to olc.edu, and when you get the chance, please familiarize yourself with the OLC homepage. There is so much information on here. I think most of the questions that I'll get asked, the answers you can find them on here. So a lot of the manuals for student, like the student handbook is on there, as well as the catalog. They're just up there electronically. I mean, there's just so much information. And so when you go to the financial aid tab, under there, you can go to scholarships. And then here you can see more about the scholarships within OLC and about outside scholarship opportunities. It also gives you the link where you can apply for FAFSA. Employment opportunities on campus. For instance, every college center has a work study position. So for students who are in good financial aid standing, they are encouraged, if they want to, they can submit an application for work study, which is basically someone who works with a counselor, helps with filing and different office duties like that. But it's a paid position. So there are internships, things like work study, those are offered at OLC And then that's an opportunity, like when you click on it, like I said, it talks about work study. And of course, that's all they talk about. There are other internships. I did see one. I know that the books, or not the bookstore, the library had paid internships, math and science have had paid internships. So I mean, there's lots of opportunity for students to, especially, you know, if you're interested in that area or even going into that area specifically, it's a good opportunity for you to make a little money and learn more about what you're planning on to pursue as you go. Another thing, and then like even under financial aid, there's so much information here. I mean, just stats of it. But back to this. It also learning more about tuition and fees. So there's lots of information. The outside scholarship opportunities. It does talk about the Dakota Indian Foundation Scholarship. It does have some requirements. It's a $1,000 scholarship for an academic year, $500 per semester. This one is not only for undergraduate, but for graduate students. They are also eligible. Graduate students would be ones who completed their bachelor's and they're pursuing a master's degree. Like the OLC offers 2 master's degrees. And like it says on there, you have to have a minimum 2.0. But as you can see, the deadline for the fall semester is August 1st and January 1st for the spring semester. So you can see that one is actually pretty close, the deadlines to disbursement, but there's just quite a few. The American Indian Scholarship Fund has not only scholarship opportunities, but loan opportunities. This is good to know if you're planning on attending an outside institution. The tuition for OLC is low enough that the Pell Grant covers the entire thing. And there will be some left over. You know, even if you're taking 12 credit hours and you're fully funded, then you get the max amount that a student can get for 12 credit hours. There will be some left over after your bill is paid and you get that back. You know, it's like a check they give to you or direct deposit. So, and it's very few schools that can say that they're totally free. So I know when I get students, even this semester, I had a couple who came in and they were like, they have plans to go to School of Mines. They want to go into engineering. So they're both pre-engineering and life science majors here. And I was like, you got to finish your course because it's basically free. But when students are thinking about attending outside schools and the chances that they have to do loans are likely, then something like this American Indian Scholarship Fund Association might come in handy. So lots of them here. The American Indian Service of Utah even has funds available to assist students. Continental Society Daughters of Indian Wars. So this is a $500 scholarship for enrolled tribal members and that are in undergraduate education or social service programs. So as you can see, some of these scholarships are very specific. They are awarded, it might be, you know, they can only do freshman or only senior. They can only be in math and science, or they can only be in education. So it's very good to look into these sooner rather than later, read the fine print, see what the eligibility criteria is, and don't be afraid to apply for it if you meet. A lot of times it's a lengthy process. You've got to include everything in there, you know, your transcripts, I'll write a big long essay, references, so on and so forth. But, and even if you are awarded an outside scholarship, but you're ineligible for financial aid here, you're on financial aid suspension, we will still give you the money for that outside scholarship. In the past, we would not award it because of students on suspension, they don't get anything. However, that's changed. So even for people who are on financial aid suspension, if they are awarded an outside scholarship, then they will still receive that money. So now they need to keep in mind that some of that money can be applied towards their bill, but they would still get some back. So just some few key points on scholarships. Does anybody have any questions about scholarships, financial aid? Anything?
All the scholarships, like whichever one, it doesn't matter which one you try for, if you're awarded it, it'll still go to your billing account. Or is it
If
just
you-
this one?
No, it depends on your standing. So if you're in good financial aid standing, then your bill is being, and you're eligible for Pell, your bill is taken care of by Pell. So any scholarship you receive, you'll get. You'll, depending on which one comes in first, you'll either get the scholarship or, because your Pell comes in first, is applied to the bill. But if the scholarship comes in first, it's applied to the bill and you get your whole Pell back. Now, keep in mind that for a student taking 12 credit hours who is eligible for Pell and awarded the entire amount, they get about $3,600 a semester. Now, out of that, your tuition, books, and fees comes out. Your tuition, depending on how much your books are, you're probably looking at paying around $1,500, upwards of maybe between $1,500 and $2,000. And the rest is yours. It comes back to you. So yeah, it's, and if your scholarship pays for your bill first, you get the full $3,600 back. So I mean, it works out like that. Now, that's for somebody in good standing. If you are on financial aid suspension, and this is in policy, the college can take up to half of your scholarship award and apply it to your bill. So if you're awarded, you know, a $500 scholarship, they could take up to $250. Now, there is one other instance where they can do this, all right? If a student is Pell eligible, but they're taking a class that does not pertain to their degree, it's not on their status sheet, okay? Then financial aid will let student accounts know. And student accounts can keep up to half of your scholarship to take care of that bill specifically. You will be charged the tuition, fees, and books for that class that is not. And that's a Department of Education rule, not an OLC. It's just something that we have to follow. So when she was going over her registrars, AJ going over the registrars PowerPoint, and she was saying on there that you need to follow your status sheet, that's why. Now, if you're not eligible for Pell, you could take any class you want, and it won't matter because Pell is not paying for anything. So if you're not enrolled, because not everybody who attends OLC is enrolled, you know, but if you're not enrolled with any tribe, then we are just like any other college. You have to pay your bill off each semester before you register for the next semester. And that's just because our federally recognized tribal members, regardless of what tribe they're enrolled in, they can accrue a bill. As they go along, they can build a bill because those people, if they meet the eligibility requirements, are eligible for a donor payoff when they graduate. So either way, we're assured of having our costs covered by those students. But that is only available for enrolled students. Non-enrolled, they're not eligible for it, so it kind of sucks. But anyway, kind of off on a tangent. Did you guys have any questions? I love questions, so don't even hesitate, just throw them at me. No? Okay. Well, according to the, let's see, just look at to see if you have, did any of you guys have any questions about the time management? that time management is so important. It's something I talk about with students when they're in my office even. And in this day and age, you know, that meme that Al had up there about using the calendar whenever you buy one. In this day and age, all you need is this. I mean, for real, you have a phone, you have a calendar, a clock, a calculator, I mean, the whole 9 yards. Excuse me. So it really comes down to organizing your time. And one of the best things that was ever told to me when I was talking with somebody about time management, they said to me, they were like, use your time wisely and make good habits. So each semester you start, think about what habits you need to create or change that will help you become successful. And it could be like some of the things he had up there, social media, limiting your time. Myself, I'm a gamer. Yes, I am a gamer. I'm on my Xbox a lot in between semesters. But now the semester starts, I'm a graduate student. My controller got put away. You know, because I know if I don't do that, I will spend more time on that game and not on my homework where it needs to be. So recognize your distractions, recognize them and acknowledge them, and then work on creating new habits so that they don't get in your way. I think is really important. AJ, are you on?
I'm here.
All right, well, I think that is
Can you
about the end
stop
of-
sharing the screen?
Oh, yep. Give me just a second there. There you go.
Okay. So for the sake of the recording, I'm just going to say that we're going to stop recording right now.